Hey everybody, what's going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. So today we're going to be covering Tri-Brigade Spright once again, but as I said in the deck profile, now I'm going to be showing you a combo guide for this deck. So I've seen some people ask for a Runic Spright combo guide as well. I guess I'll just address this here. I don't really feel the particular need to make a separate combo guide just for Runic Spright, because honestly with that deck, you're just going to take a lot of those pure Spright combos that you were doing before, and more or less just do that plus Runic stuff. Tri-Brigade Spright, on the other hand, definitely has its own set of unique combos, and it's got a lot of different combos that you can pull off with this deck, even right now. But it also has a lot more, and frankly, better combos to come in the future as well. Right now, I kind of touched on this on the deck profile, but this is an important disclaimer I will kind of give for this deck profile. I'll show you how to combo with this deck as it is in Master Duel now, and I think Tri-Brigade Spright, as it is in Master Duel now, is a good deck. It can compete with other meta decks. However, I will say that because it's lacking some of the tools that it needs to fully kind of get its power going, it is going to be a little bit less powerful. Actually, I want to say more than a little bit. It'll be significantly less powerful than I think most of the other Spright variants, especially Pure and Runic. I will, again, clarify that I don't think Tri-Brigade Spright is a bad deck, but it is not going to be a tier 1 deck along with what I believe the other Spright decks will be. I think it probably, in my opinion, is going to be upper tier 3, maybe lower tier 2 in terms of its power level, but I think because other people would just prefer to play other Spright variants, I don't think it's going to see a whole lot of representation, particularly on the TCG side. Nevertheless, I love Tri-Brigade, and like I said, I did promise a combo guide, and I actually do like this deck quite a bit. Because I love this archetype so much, I do have quite a bit of fun playing this particular variant of Spright. So I'll show you some of the combos that we can do currently in Master Duel, and then maybe when the future support comes out, I'll make an amended combo guide. We'll have to just cross that bridge when we get there, but I'm going to be using the same build for my deck profile. We'll go over, well, as always, we'll start with 1-card combos and then look at some 2-card combos. So let's just go ahead and dive straight into these plays. Alright, so as I stated in that intro, this deck has a lot of 1-card combos, and we actually, opened the classic 1-card Tri-Brigade combo piece, and that's going to be Tri-Brigade Fraktall. So let's start by showing you what happens if you open Tri-Brigade Fraktall, or of course, Fire Formation Tenki to search the Fraktall. So we'll start by activating the Fraktall's effect. This is going to be pretty familiar, of course, start, but we're actually going to already do things a little bit differently than most Tri-Brigade combos. Most of the time, you send Kitt and then Nervall. This time, we're actually just going to straight up send Nervall. Because we want to actually add the Kitt to our hand. That's going to be more important this time around because we need a level 2 monster. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and normal summon my Kitt right over here, and I'll activate her effect, banishing 2 cards, the Nervall and the Fraktall, of course. And then we can summon a Tri-Brigade Ferrijit, the Barren Blossom. Now from there, I'm going to go into yet another Link 2 monster. This one is going to be our Spright Elf, using, of course, both the Kitt and the Ferrijit. And I'll throw the Spright Elf right over here. Alright, so let's go ahead and activate both of these effects. Since they are both on the chain link, and the Kitt is the one that we really want to resolve, I'm going to go ahead and put that as chain link 1 in order to chain block it. Then we'll go ahead and make Ferrijit chain link 2. We still like the Ferrijit in this situation because we get to put back the driver. Put that back into the deck. And then with Kitt, I'm actually going to send one of my Kerasses to the graveyard and then immediately use my Spright Elf to go ahead and bring it back. Alright, now I can activate my Kerass' effect. I'm going to banish 2 cards, the Ferrijit and the Kitt. And that will enable us to special summon Bearbrumm, the Rampant Rampager. Now, using the Rampant Rampager and the Kerass, I can go ahead and make Gigantic Spright, because of course, remember, with Gigantic Spright, we get to use Link 2 monsters as materials as well. Alright, there's our Gigantic Spright. Now, I put it in defense mode because it's not going to stay at 3200 attack for long. I'm going to go ahead and detach that Bearbrumm. And as far as what you're going to get out of the deck, I mean, it could be any number of things, really. I'm going to just get a red, I guess, just to have a monster to get on the field. Now we, of course, get to activate our Bearbrumm's effect. The reason, by the way, you wouldn't want to go for Blue or Jet is because we're activating Bearbrumm's effect. So now we can only special summon Tri-Brigade monsters for the rest of the turn. So if I had special summoned Blue to add Jet, well, then I can't special summon the Jet. Similarly, if I had special Jet and add Starters to try to special Blue and then add something, you know, I can only summon Tri-Brigade. So I'm just going to go straight for the Red or Carrot. Anyway, yeah, we're going to go ahead and not activate the Ash Blossom in response to our own Bearbrumm. We'll activate the Bearbrumm, adding this Revolt to our hand. I guess I'll just put back this Nervall, that's fine. And then now we can set the Revolt. So there is our first end board for the deck. This is all off of just that Fraktall there. You get the Spright Elf, which can bring back, well, currently nothing, but you can potentially use red. I guess you can't really bring back the Gigantic Spright. Well, regardless, you do have the Revolt, and you do get to set up the Shurig, and you could bring back one of the Tri-Brigade monsters with the Elf after you get them back into the graveyard with the Revolt there, but this is all, again, if you just open Fraktall or Tenki. So let's go and take a look at the next one-card combo here. Okay, so for this card, or for this one-card combo, rather, I'm going to show you what you can do if you open Spright Starter. Now, as with all my combo guides, as you can see with this hand, we actually opened, like, a ton of gas. This hand is great, but for the sake of explaining a one-card combo, I'm just going to assume that we only have Spright Starter as our only live card. So if that happens, you can just go ahead and start by activating your Spright Starter, of course. I'm going to go ahead and special summon the Spright Blue. That will allow us to then activate Spright Blue's ability to add a Jet from our deck to our hand. Now we can special summon that Jet and activate that Jet's ability. We already used Spright Starters, so we'll just go ahead and add Spright Smashers. We don't need it to combo, but it's going to be a nice little disruption for our opponent's turn there. Alright, now we can go ahead and take our two Spright monsters, Jet and Blue. Going to overlay those into the Gigantic Spright. Now let's activate the Gigantic Spright effect, detaching one of the materials. I'll just detach Blue here, and special summon the Kitt from our deck. Throw that right over there. Now we can use our Kitt and Gigantic Spright to go into Spright Elf. Summon that right there, and because Kitt went to the graveyard, we get to activate her effect. Of course, we're going to send Nervall. Nervall is then going to allow us to add a level 4 or lower Tri-Brigade. I'm going to get the Fraktall here. And then now I'm going to activate my Fraktall's effect, and I'm going to use that to send a Kerass to the graveyard. Now that Kerass is in the graveyard, we can go ahead and activate Elf's effect, but we don't need to grab Kerass just yet. We can actually get Kitt because we haven't used Kitt's on-field effect yet. Okay, now we activate Kitt, banishing 2. This is important. Make sure that you banish Fraktall and Nervall. We want to keep Kerass because it's level 2 and can be potentially used for plays later. So we want to banish Nervall and Fraktall here. And then we can special summon our Bearbrumm. Now let's go ahead and link summon again. I'm going to get one of our Ferrijit, sending Kitt and Bearbrumm to the graveyard. And now we get the Bearbrumm effect. We use that to add Tri-Brigade Revolt. And then we'll put back, of course, PSY-Frame Driver. Now we can set both the Revolt, and remember we also added the Spright Smashers. So if you open just Spright Starter, this is what your turn 1 end board is going to look like. You get the Elf, the Ferrijit, of course the Revolt we searched up, as well as the Smashers we searched up. So we get multiple disruptions, and we get to also get a search off of an Elf summon on our opponent's turn as well. So that's pretty nice. Alright, let's go and take a look at that last one-card combo for the deck here. Okay, and we have our one card for this last one-card combo. That is going to be Rescue Cat. So, yet again, this hand is actually insane and has a ton of gas in it, but for the sake of this combo, let's assume that these are all just like hand traps or bricks, and we only have the Rescue Cat. Let's start by, of course, normal summoning the cat and activating the effect. I can use that to grab one of each Kerass and Kitt. And then I'm going to overlay those Kerass and Kitt into a Gigantic Spright. Let's put that right over here. Alright, now we get to detach the Kitt And I'm going to special summon the Spright Blue from the deck. Now, you do want both of these effects to resolve, but we definitely want the Spright Blue effect to resolve more. Like, this is the more important. To fully get the combo, we need both effects, but if we want one of these to be negated, we want it to be the Kitt. So I'm going to put Spright Blue as Chain Link 1, and then Kitt as Chain Link 2, so that way we chain block the blue search. Alright, now we're of course going to send the Nervall, and then with blue we get to add a Jet. Now we also get to add a card off of Nervall as well. This time around we're going to be adding a Kerass. Alright, let's special summon this Jet to the field, and activate to add a starter. And then now we get to use Spright Starter to get either Red or Carrot, just depending on your preference of what you prefer to negate. It'll largely depend on what the rest of your hand looks like. I usually just get Red most of the time, but again, it will depend on what your hand looks like. So I'll just get Red here. Right now, let's see, we're going to take that Jet and Gigatic Spright, use those in order to make the Spright Elf. And now Spright Elf gets to bring back our Tri-Brigade Kitt. Right, from here I'm actually going to summon, again, I'm going to summon IP using the red and the blue. You do want to make sure when you're comboing with this deck, by the way, make sure that you're doing like all of your non-Tri-Brigade summons first. Like, for example, the reason we summoned IP there is because we had to use red and blue as materials, but if I had activated Kitt's effect first, then for the rest of the turn you can only use Tri-types, which are Beast, Beast Warrior, and Wing Beast as link materials. So that's why you had to IP right there before activating Kitt. That is a misplay that I made multiple times while learning this deck, so just make sure that you're avoiding the same. Alright, now we get to activate our Kitt's effect, because we're done using Spright monsters as materials for this turn. And let's see, we'll just go ahead and banish these two. And I'll special summon a Ferrijit. Now we can activate that Ferrijit's effect to summon that Kerass that we added. Alright, and from here, we can use our Ferrijit and our, and the Kitt to make the Bearbrumm. And if you wanted to, you could activate Ferrijit's effect. There's kind of no reason not to, especially at this stage. I mean, as you can see here, we drew a Maxx, so if these were all other, like, dead cards, we could put back one of our quote-unquote dead cards and have a free live draw off of it there. So, okay, now we get to use our Kerass' effect because we have two of the cards in the graveyard. We don't really need to save stuff for Accesscode here, because we're not running it in the extra deck. Normally, I'd advise against banishing your link monsters, but here it doesn't really matter. Alright, and then I'll throw an Ancient Warrior's Oath, double Dragon Lords right over there. And now let's go ahead and send away our Bearbrumm and Kerass for PSY-Framelord Lambda. And this is why we have to run Lambda, is because we need to send away this Bearbrumm for not just this combo, but some other combos in order to be able to add a Revolt. This is, like, kind of the reason... Honestly, this card is kind of the reason why I was a little hesitant to make this combo guide. Like, in the future, when we get both Spright Sprined and Pit Knight Airily, those are such better Link 2s, and it just... I don't know. I like Tri-Brigades, and this deck is good. I'm not saying it's a bad deck, but going into PSY-Framelord Lambda just feels bad, because this card really is, like, not doing anything except just, like, sending the Bearbrumm to the graveyard. That's, like, literally pretty much the entire function of this card. If you happen to have Gamma in your hand, that's cool, then this card is better, but most of the time it's really just, like, a body. So now we get the Revolt. I'll put back another card here. And then you get to throw down the Revolt, and boom, there you go. This is the Rescue Cat setup, so obviously it's going to be notably better than the other one-card combos we've seen here. We, of course, have plenty of revival options, but probably just going to be the red to get more monster negations with the Elf. We have Disruption in the form of the Ancient Warrior's Oath, double Dragon Lords, and then we have the IP. I will note that you should be careful about what order you activate stuff in. Obviously, right now we can't use Revolt because we don't have enough monster spaces, so you will need to IP first. I would probably recommend doing that for either the... well, I guess it would just be the Appaloosa in this case. But yeah, IP for Appaloosa just as soon as possible. Then your Revolt will be live. You've also got the Disrupt off the Ancient Warrior's Oath, and again, you can use Elf to bring back Red as yet another Disrupt for this end board. So, alright, there's the one-card combos. Now let's see what we can do with some two-card combos. Okay, so for this 1-card combo here, sorry, no, this is a 2-card combo, we're on to those now, right? I'm going to show you what you can do with any level 2 monster plus Jet or Starter or Blue. Any one of those should work here. So I'm going to go ahead and normal summon the Kerass, and I'll special summon this Jet right over here. And activate the Jet's ability. Normally I'd grab Starter, but I already have both Starters as well, so I'll just get Smashers. But normally you would grab one of these Starters here. So now I'm going to activate this Starter. Let's go ahead and get a Blue. Then we can use a Blue. And I'll just add a Red here. I'm not going to summon the Red just yet, though, because I'm at 3 summons. Gigantic Spright's going to be 4. Then I'll activate Gigantic Spright's effect. Then that'll be the 5th summon, but at that point my opponent can't Nibiru. And so it won't really matter anyway. So, alright, let's go ahead and just use these two for the Gigantic. Throw that right over here. Alright, and activate the Gigantic Spright's effect. Detach one of the materials. And I'm just going to use that to summon Kitt. And then now would be a good time to throw down the Red here. So, alright, now that we have the Kitt online, we can go ahead and link up here. I'm going to summon Spright Elf using the Kitt and the Gigantic Spright. I actually could have put this Red in a better spot because I have the Kerass over here. Let's put the Elf right here just to make sure we have an open zone that we're pointing to. Alright, we're going to use Kitt's effect to send the Nervall here. Now we're going to activate Nervall's effect. This time we're going to add a Fraktall. And then I will activate the Fraktall's effect in order to send a Kerass. We already have Kerass as our level 2 monster, but just for the sake of this combo, you could pretend it's like Maxx or something. It's just like a just blank level 2 monster. Okay, so now from here we can use our 2 onboard monsters in order to go for the IP Masquerena. Again, just make sure that you're doing this before you start using the Tri-Brigade monsters effects, because if you use a Tri-Brigade monsters effect, you won't be able to use the Spright monsters as materials. Anyway, after that we're going to go ahead and activate the Spright Elf effect. We can special summon the Kitt. Don't put Kitt in Elf Zone. You might be tempted to and be like, oh, if I put Elf or Kitt in Elf Zone, then my Kitt won't be able to be targeted. But then you won't have an open Link Zone to Link Summon, and you can't activate Kitt's effect, and that'll be like the end of your play. So we definitely want to keep going here. Gonna go ahead and activate the Kitt to banish 2 cards. Let's go ahead and just get Nervall and Fraktall out of the graveyard. And then I can just throw down a Bearbrumm. Alright, now we can do another Link Summon, and we'll link Kitt and Bearbrumm into a Ferrijit. Alright, now let's get Ferrijit's effect, or sorry, not Ferrijit, Bearbrumm's effect to add the Revolt. And just throw back one of our cards. Boom, set Revolt, there you go. Here is your 2-card combo with any level 2 monster, and then again, Blue, Jet, Starters, any one of those cards. Should get you this setup right here. We have the live Revolt, which we can use right away. We have the IP, and then of course we have the Spright Elf, which can even bring back a Red for extra monster negation if you don't need like the extra search for something. So there's that one. Let's go and take a look at the next combo here. Alright, so for this next combo here, I'm going to show you what you can do if you open Tri-Brigade Kitt plus literally any Spright monster. Now here we open Jet, which is a Spright monster that's going to inherently get us advantage. However, I will say, even if you opened a Spright Red or Carrot, you can still do this play. So the fact that we open Jet, you don't need Blue, Jet, or Starters. It could be literally any one of the Spright monsters here. So I'm going to start by normal summoning the Kitt. Now I'll special summon Jet. Let's activate Jet's effect. I'm going to get a Starter here. Alright, now we can take our Jet and Kitt and overlay those into Gigantic Spright. And activate the Gigantic Spright's effect. Now, of course, we're going to want to detach the Kitt here so that we get her effect. And then let's special summon a Spright Blue. Gonna chain link, or order this chain link the same way I did last time, because even though we do really want both effects to resolve, Blue is definitely the one we value more. So Blue is gonna be chain link 1, Kitt is gonna be chain link 2. Alright, so with Kitt we're gonna send Nervall to the graveyard. And then with blue, if you didn't open with Jet, you would definitely add Jet here, but I'm just going to add Red here because, again, we opened with Jet. And then we get the Nervall effect to add as well. This time I'm going to add a Fraktall. Alright, so here, if you got Jet, then you would special summon the Jet here and grab the starters. I am going to throw the Spright Red on board. Alright, now let's go ahead and, oh, of course, make the Elf using the blue and the Gigantic Spright. Alright, and now I'm going to activate Spright Starter. I've of course already summoned both Blue and Jet, so I'm just going to get Carrot here. Alright, now you'll take your 2 Spright monsters that are left on the board and use those to go into your IP Masquerena. Again, as always, do remember to use your Spright monsters as materials before you start activating the Tri-Brigade monsters effect. So, alright, now we're going to go ahead and do the Elf in order to get our Kitt here. Oh, you know what? I did this in a little bit of a weird order, but it actually doesn't matter really what order you do this in. Because as you can see, we don't have enough materials engraved to use Kitt yet. We can just use Fraktall to do that. I technically should have done that before I brought back the Kitt with Elf, but it doesn't like super duper matter, so. Alright, now that we have those in graveyard, we can go ahead and activate our Kitt's effect for 2 cards. I'm going to banish, of course, Nervall and Fraktall, keep the level 2 in the graveyard. Get our Bearbrumm, and now we can link away the Bearbrumm and the Kitt for Ferrijit. That will, of course, trigger the Bearbrumm's effect in order to add the Revolt. Let's go ahead and get that, and then let's put back the Nervall here. Set that, and boom, here we go. We have the same setup. So the order in which you do things will kind of differentiate a little bit depending on which Spright monster you open, but again, just know that it doesn't matter which Spright monster you open with Kitt. Again, it could be Red or Carrot, and you could still end on literally this exact same board here. So there is that combo. We have one more to take a look at. Let's dive straight into it. Alright, so here is the last 2-card combo I'm going to show you. I'll show you what you can do if you open Fraktall plus Spright Blue. I believe Jet or Starters should get you the same result here. So, Fraktall plus Blue, here we go. I'm going to start by activating the Tri-Brigade Fraktall's effect. Going to send a Kitt to the graveyard this time. We didn't last time, but this time we are going to send Kitt. Or rather, I should say with the 1-card Fraktall combo, we didn't send Kitt, but now we will. Alright, Kitt's effect, I'm going to send the Nervall, of course, and then now we're going to activate the Nervall effect. I'm going to add a Tri-Brigade Kerass to my hand. Alright, now I can normal summon this Kerass, special summon the Spright Blue, activate Spright Blue's effect. I'm going to add the Jet, special Jet, and activate the effect. And I don't even really need starters here, so I'm actually going to add Spright Smashers for another disrupt. Alright, now I can use the blue and the sprites that are on my, or sorry, the blue and the jet that are on my field. Make the Gigantic Spright. Activate my Gigantic Sprite's effect. Detach one of the materials, doesn't really matter which. And we actually don't need to summon Kitt this time because we already have all of our Tri-Brigade monsters set up. So you can either get Red or Carrot, depending on which negation you value more. I'm going to get Red here. Alright, and then you're going to take the Red and the Gigantic Spright, or whichever monster you summoned off Gigantic Spright. Now we're going to go ahead and use those to go for our Spright Elf. Okay, now we can activate our Kerass's effect. I'm going to banish 2 cards. We're going to do Nervall and Fraktall. And I will summon a Ferrijit. I'm going to do that right over here. Alright, now I will activate Spright Elf's effect. I'm going to get back that Kitt that we left in our graveyard. We'll throw that right over here. Now this Kerass and this Ferrijit that are on the field, I'm going to go ahead and link those off for, I just couldn't find Bearbrumm for a second there. Yeah, let's go ahead and link those away for Bearbrumm. And, yeah, we could activate Ferrijit's effect if you wanted to here. There's no real reason to for this combo guide, though. But if you wanted to, you get the Ferrijit effect there. Anyway, now we're going to use Kitt in order to banish these 2 right here. And so we get to summon an Ancient Warrior's Oath Double Dragon Lord. It's pretty cool. We get to throw that in the combo there. Now we're going to go Bearbrumm and Kitt into PSY-Frame Lambda. Use Bearbrumm's effect to add the Revolt, put back one of our cards here. Boom, set the Revolt, and then we also have the Spright Smashers that we added as well. If you wanted to get Starter instead of Smashers, you could do that, and in theory have Red or Carrot on this inboard instead of Smashers. But honestly, I really like Smashers. I value having this card in a lot of matchups, but especially the Spright matchup, because if you can get a level 2 monster off their board and keep a level 2 monster off their board, then they can't summon Spright monsters from their hand. You can also use this on the Gigantic Spright if you do it on the resolution of the summon before they have an opportunity to activate its effect. So Spright Smashers definitely has, in my opinion, a good bit of value, potentially over Red or Carrot. And it would realistically be Carrot here because, again, we got Red with this combo anyway, and then we can bring it back with Elf. We also, as always as ever, have the Disruption of Revolt, and then we got the Ancient Warriors Oath Double Dragon Lords on this board as well. Again, we have to play PSY-Framelord Lambda here, which in my opinion just feels kind of bad. This card literally doesn't do anything except be a 1700 vanilla body here, but was still necessary to send the Bearbrumm. So that's it. That is going to do it for all of the Spright combos here. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, well, then I'm glad, because, you know, I really like making decks like this more accessible, because especially this deck. I mean, it's Tri-Brigade, I love Tri-Brigade, but I'm going to stop gushing here. Instead, let's just go ahead and move now to our outro. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the very end of the video like this. That means a whole lot to me, not just personally, but it's also a great way of supporting the channel as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other means, you can of course feel free to comment and or subscribe right here on YouTube. I'm always looking to the comments section. You guys leave some pretty awesome feedback as far as like constructive criticism goes when it comes to deck building, gameplay, channel content, all that stuff. So feel free to leave your opinion down there. I will be sure to take a look at that there. And then subscribing is going to be the best way to get notifications of when these videos drop. That does happen every day, by the way, so if you're looking for daily Master Duel content, you've come to the right place. And there are more places where you can get some daily Master Duel content. If you check out the description below, follow the top link over to my Patreon page. There for just $5 a month, which is as much as you pay for a booster pack. You'll find a lot more value than a pack full of filler over there. We've got some previews for content upcoming here on the channel. We've got some exclusive games that are only posted over on Patreon over there. We've got some Q&As, and then you can also have your name featured in this lovely credit sequence where I thank all of the people who are helping contribute over there on Patreon. It's a huge support to the channel, and it really means a lot as well. So thank you everyone who is donating that is featured here on screen. And again, you know, it's not just a pure donation. You do get some more daily Master Duel content over there just for being a part of the Patreon. But I think that's about all the time that I have for today's video. Once again, I just want to thank you so very much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. Again, it just means a lot, as I do put a decent amount of work into getting these videos out every single day. But that's about all the time that I've got for now. So without further ado, this is Xlex. I'm signing out, and I hope you have a fantastic day.